Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around for the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 showing a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's going to try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's going to crash. Salas is going to crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is going to do it with no front bumper.
Unbelievable.
Wow. There's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. 1 lap to go at Long Beach. White flag is out. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams.
Yeah, can Rayleigh hold him off? He looked like he's started to gap Cantonio just ever so slightly. Got about half of a second. It's been hovering right around there. Oh, Cantonio really pushing. He's sideways out of turn number 1. But Rayleigh just keeping that car pointed in the right direction. Nice and smooth, able to keep it going. It's going to be tough. Antonio knows that there's not very many chances, even if you can get close enough to him to make a move. So we'll see as they come through 6 and 7, head toward turn 8 onto the backstretch.
Deeper in the field, nothing changing. Lap traffic ahead. It's Kevin Peak and Bradley Alvis right in front of our race leaders down East Seaside Way. And to turn number 9 for the final time. Lap traffic in the way, and Rayleigh goes for it on Peak. He sends it into turn 9. He knows he can't wait. He knows he can't give an opportunity to Kevin Cantonio. Cantonio's going to take it anyway. Ships it into the hairpin, and Rayleigh's going to get away. Thomas Rayleigh is going to be a race winner in the North American Racing League. A last lap bump and run wasn't enough. This man wins at Long Beach.
Wow, what a finish coming through that hairpin. I thought they were all going to wad it up. We had lap traffic in there, staying in there.
We're turning right for the final times today, at least for the season, with 54 laps around Watkins Glen to get us one race closer to our 2005 NORA Retro Cup Series chase. It'll be a road ringer fight out front while everyone else scratches and claws for whatever is left behind them as they try to make their way into this season's chase. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Watkins Glen, New York. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and it's a pleasure as always to join you for coverage of NORA at the Glen. Today's coverage is brought to you by Harpoon Designs, by NORA, and by Whiplash Creative. And Zach, Watkins Glen, New York, it is a classic in NASCAR schedules. I mean, it's been on the schedule for decades at this point. It has been the most consistent road course that NASCAR has gone to. It is, when you think of road course racing, typically you think of maybe three tracks ultimately in NASCAR. Those are Watkins Glen, first up, foremost, I think, easily. Then it's kind of a toss-up for number two, either Sonoma/Sears Point or Riverside. Really, those are the three, I think, that you think of over the course of NASCAR's entire history as far as road course racing. Sure, there have been other races at other road courses, but when it comes down to it, this place is a classic.
I would say the definitive road course would be Daytona Beach. Technically, that was a road course, if you want to say a toss-up type deal.
Even if you want to classify that as a road course, Zach, in nearly 80 years of racing, that's 10 years of NASCAR's history.
Fair. I certainly love when we come to Watkins Glen. It is a little lacking on the corners, I'll say. A lot of times you see tracks with 16, 15, 17, 18 corners. This has got 7 very interesting corners. Turn 1, the 90 degrees is always very difficult, especially on restarts. Then you've got the S's, 2, 3, and 4, the bus stop, which somehow doesn't qualify as a turn, but, you know, it is what it is. Then you've got the carousel leading down into 6 and 7. Jesus, don't catch me saying that ever again. And finally back onto the front stretch for turning a lap. This is one of the definitive road courses on the schedule, and it drives just as good.
It's a fantastic place to come and race, and I don't want to waste too much time because we do have drivers to talk to, but our friend Emerson Arden always calls this place one Popeye's biscuit away from an oval. We have got point standings and a whole lot to look at. Let's start with point standings here, and you see Hunter Sr. This is actually a headline we'll be talking about throughout the course of the evening. Hunter Sr. back on top of the standings after last week's issues at Indianapolis for Dalton Tucker. A little bit changed up beyond that because Chase Durham did miss last race at Indy, so that kind of shuffled things around there in the middle of the top 10 as well, but the chase battle really did not see many changes, and in fact, Kyle Tubb is actually a little farther away than I think we had expected coming into this evening's race. That said, he's typically decent on these road courses, but 20th right now on the timing charts, and Ronnie Norman inside the top 10. That spells trouble for driver 32, and realistically, that is the final spot to figure out for this chase. Brady Motes isn't going to make it. In fact, we'll talk about that shortly, but there is some news on the Brady Motes front. We'll hold that for now. But Donald Kite no longer in the series is what it seems like, and Jake Christenberry eliminated. We'll talk about this again, but eliminated after last week's race at Indianapolis. So realistically, Zach, it's down to basically whether or not Kyle Tubb can get ahead of Ronnie Norman and maybe Jacob Gladulich. Let's not forget, Gladulich is not safe, very far from safe, especially coming to a racetrack like this. In fact, Gladulich, of those 3 drivers in question, is slowest right now in practice. That said, Zach, we are on a slim window. iRacing didn't want to open the first time I tried to tell it to open, so we're a little constricted for time. Let's get to driver interviews. First up, Jacob Malone. And we're kind of talking to these guys almost in tandem. Jacob, as you lead this practice session, we're kind of forcing you and Brock Morris against one another, pitting you against one another. You are the front row this evening, you and Brock, and clearly it seems like you guys are the 2 to beat this evening. But as far as how it feels inside the car, what is this battle feeling like so far through qualifying, being on the front row, and now he's starting ahead of you technically, but you're ahead of him in practice?
We're pretty even. I think he's a little faster than me right now, or when he gets a lap going. I think I've just been a little bit more consistent within practice, which is what I hope is throughout the race, as I just missed turn 1. But we were talking, he seems pretty cool. He's very fast. and I'm excited to race him. I think it'll be interesting, the whole Dale Jr. versus Kyle Busch scenario. I know it's a few years too early for Kyle Busch, but I wanted to run this scheme, especially with how that one amazing finish he had here with Brad Keselowski and Marco Sambros. I felt like it was just perfect for that scenario. I'm not as confident here. Yes, I have the best competition possible throughout the races. I mean, Brock is super fast, but not my most comfortable road course. I prefer Montreal, if I'm not lying. That was a good drive for me and very comfortable racetrack.
And as we roll in to tonight's race here at Watkins Glen, with it being the final road course, do you feel like this could be one of your final chances to really show your prowess, shine a little bit more? Do you think you're going to be a stronger contender, maybe go for some more wins on the ovals?
Well, apparently I was wrong about Indy. I thought I was going to be good there, and that was my one shot to win, and that was probably one of my worst drives throughout the season. I was pretty good at Pocono. I don't think we have Pocono anymore. This is a track where I can, of course, shine. It is a road course. I believe I can get a top 3 with no mistakes. But overall, the schedule, I mean, I'm looking forward to Martinsville. I can't even lie. That's my favorite short track. I love that track. Homestead's fun, so also looking at that. But I've never ran that in this car. So kind of that scenario. Maybe Charlotte would be good. We'll just see.
And I'll keep this quick here. Call your shot. Do you think you beat him, or do you think Brock wins this race?
Well, I mean, of course I think I beat him. I think I have that going in every week. Even weeks I'm slow, I always think I can win. I feel like that's the mentality you need to have while running. It's not a knock at anyone. I don't think it's an ego thing. It's just you need to have that ability to believe you can win in any given week. So I'm gonna bet on myself. I think I can go win it. He's very tough and will be a very good competition. I think he definitely could beat me. I mean, he could beat me real bad. He could go pull away by 10 seconds. You never know. I could make a mistake going into turn 1 and wreck myself. That's just a part of racing, but I gotta believe in myself. Gotta put me first.
Fair enough. I like the confidence. We'll just pivot straight to Brock then. And Jacob, best of luck to you. And Brock, in your case, you guys were kind of by default pitting you against one another, you and Jacob Malone. Of course, this is only your second start here in the series, so it's maybe a little bit unfair to you. We at least have seen the several wins now, or the couple of wins now from Jacob, but you're on pole tonight in the number 8 car at Watkins Glen. What's the pressure like?
No pressure. Go out, have fun. Hopefully have a clean race, but yeah, I think that's one of the advantages of just kind of being part-time right now is I can show up and just have a good time, not worry about points, but obviously going to be trying to get that win tonight.
And bouncing off of what Andrew's talking about with pitting you guys against each other, you guys are incredibly close on lap times. How do you expect to roll into this race, assuming that you're going to have to pass some cars and still try to work on fighting Jacob for this win?
Yeah, that's just, we were talking about that before we came into the interview. It's like, feels like every time you come to Watkins Glen in one of these stock cars, it's like a multi-class race. So always just have to expect that there's going to be lapped cars from about lap 5. You're going to be passing almost every lap. So just try and stay patient, keep the car clean, but also try and get around them as efficiently as possible.
And of course, this is just your second start in this car. We learned today, actually, I guess I'll use this as the time to congratulate Brady Moats. We have a new Moats in the world. Brady's wife, Hannah, did give birth to their son, Grant, today. So congratulations to them. This is only the second race that you're running instead of Brady, Brock. I mean, we don't really know how long this goes on. Have you heard kind of how long this is expected to stretch? Is it to the end of the season? Do you have any idea?
I don't have an exact idea, but I know it's probably not going to be to the end of the season. There's a good chance I do some car jumping and potentially go over to the 0-4 for the remainder of the season. But yeah, probably next week or the week after will probably be my last in the number 8.
There you go. So I guess Brady Motes might get back in the 8 car here sooner than we thought. Brock, hey, thanks for your time. Congratulations on getting your first start in last week. I know it wasn't maybe the run you wanted, but you got all the laps in, I believe. Finished the race, right? Towards, I think, at least top half of the field. And, well, hey, at least somewhere to start. And hopefully we're watching you get better and better as the weeks go on.
Absolutely. That's what I'm hoping for.
Brock Morris in the number 8 car starting on pole this evening at Watkins Glen. A big jump for him, so we'll be talking, I'm sure, to him by the end of the night, Zach, but Brock Morris starting from the first spot tonight. We're going to be quick with this next segment of the show, if you will. Straight into gas and go. Zach, we just talked about actually one of our first topics, so let's get right down to it. This battle of the 8 and 18 tonight. You see, Jacob Malone taking maybe a not so time accurate paint scheme out there this evening, but kind of doing the whole Junior versus Bush thing. It doesn't necessarily, anyway. But Morris versus Malone, road ringers. Which one do we feel like wins this thing?
Honestly, it's too tough to call right now. They are within a tenth of each other on the racetrack right now in terms of times. It's so close.
I definitely don't know who to pick. We're going to do our winner pick here in a second, and it's going to be just, I think, off of vibes when we actually go green here this evening. I want to even take Ryan Housden, because why not? The guy is starting third this evening, and he's a lot of fun to watch on these road courses. We'll see. But topic number 2 this evening, Zach, Hunter Sr. has taken the points lead. Obviously, I mean, it's not necessarily how do we feel about that, but that's, I think, significant with not so many races left to go.
Yeah, Hunter is really starting to take point back and show that he is still a championship contender. And I think he's done a great job of capitalizing on others' mistakes. And who knows, maybe he can do some more as the racing goes on.
And so Hunter Sr. back on top of the standings going into this evening's race at Watkins Glen. We'll keep an eye on that. And on the other side of the point standings, Kristen Berry's hopes for the chase basically dashed after contact with Watchers last week.
Yeah, it was a tough break for Christian Berry. He was having a really good race. He was on the offset strategy, trying to find a way to gain whatever track position he could. And while he had a really great attempt, it's unfortunate circumstances took him out. But honestly, that's just racing sometimes. You have to take the good with the bad.
I don't disagree. That's just part of it sometimes. And every driver has had ups and downs, and unfortunately it's a bit of a down right now for Christian Berry, but plenty of season left to go, even if he doesn't make the chase to race for wins. And this is one I want to pause on for a second. There are some talks of setup changes coming to the series. In fact, the qualifying setup has been altered, actually, for next week's race at Michigan. So they're qualifying before, during, and after the race tonight, of course, and we are seeing some changes in ballast location and spring perch and stuff like that, Zach, to change the balance of the car but keep 77% fuel. Drivers are complaining it doesn't feel right.
When does the car ever feel right? It's a race car. it drives, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, and to be clear, these cars being, fueled to 77% instead of 100%, that is going to change the weight balance. It's taking rear weight out, putting nose weight in effectively, shifting that balance forward. That is going to change the handling of the race cars. There is something to it, but it's something we'll keep an eye on as the weeks go by. And Zach, final topic here. Look at this. We get to kind of, I guess, cold launch, if you will, the fact that we're planning to run Legends with NORA at New Hampshire in a couple of weeks. That should be fun. So it's going to be Legend cars on the road course at New Hampshire, and then these guys on the oval.
Yeah, the Legends Tour is starting to gain a lot of great traction. We have really increased our car counts from just a few races. We went from starting maybe 5 or 6, 7 cars to now having 18 starters in the last race, having over 20 cars in our points-paying positions. It's starting to really gain some traction. I'm really enjoying the backing that we're starting to get. I think it's going to be fun to see it paired up with NORA that night, and hopefully we'll see some of these NORA guys come on over and try to run with us.
Should be a lot of fun. And I mentioned we were going to do some winner picks. Let's go ahead and go through our grid first, and we'll get to everything else. So cars are rolling, as you can see, and on pole, Zach, Brock Morris in that number 8, leading us to the green. These guys do have an extra pace lap. That's going to change things slightly for them, but Morris and Malone, your front row, as there you see the 8 and 18 bringing us to the green flag. Ryan Housden and Kyle Tubb, row 2, followed by Vincent Arthur and Josh Conover. So a lot of the same players you would expect towards the front. I'd say Kyle Tubb is a pleasant surprise, though, in the 4th position. Jacob Gladulich and Kevin Baumler swap that. Baumler alongside Gladulich, 7th and 8th there, and then back in row 5, Hunter Sr. and Anthony Krobach in the top 10.
Rolling outside the top 10, Ronnie Norman is going to end up 11th with Cody Anderson to his outside in the 33, starting 12th. Behind them, John Skavnicki and Jake Christenberry, fresh out of being out of contention for the chase, but hopefully he'll be able to string some good races together, maybe grab some more points here at the end. 15th and 16th on the grid, you've got Brian Jones and Nick Hom, and then right behind them in 17th and 18th on the grid, you've got Caden Henry Oaks and Nick Geilis. Following up in the top 20, it's Dalton Tucker and Chase Durheim. Not expecting to see Durheim down so far in the running order, but I'm sure he'll be able to bounce back and really pull one out today.
Yeah, some of these drivers didn't get a qualifying lap in last week. That might be part of it here for Tucker and Durheim, considering Tucker had the connection issues last week. I think that might be, what's at play there. But Kyle Rochelle back in the field. He will start from 21st. And Wayne Sparks is back here this evening as well. He starts 22nd this evening. Chance Durheim and Chris Winstone, the very back end of the field. So as these guys get an opportunity to go racing here in just a lap's time, Zach, we can remind everybody that this is your literal last second to go make picks for fantasy this evening. I'm actually double checking that I have my picks in. I'm pretty certain I do, but even I have to double check and make sure we've got them in. So everybody, if you haven't picked yet, now is your time. It looks like a lot of the usuals have, and it's going to be fun to see how that goes. Zach, and a quick look at the fantasy standings coming into tonight. There we are. John Skavnicki up top still, but I'll be honest, Zach, I think this is the first time in any of these graphics, power rankings, or fantasy in this kind of format that I've ever seen us not have position changes at all.
That's a weird one. I was expecting some position changes, but you know what? It's fine. You never know. You never know what's going to happen. And as we roll into this race, Andrew, there's so many different things that can happen. And one thing I think we should touch on is those power rankings. Dalton Tucker still hanging on to that top spot. Surprisingly, Vincent Arthur hanging tough as well with Josh Conover. Moving up into that 3rd spot, you got Malone moving down just a little bit. Brian Jones is up. Houston's down. A lot of changes moving on throughout these power rankings, Andrew. And I think we're going to see some wild changes after tonight, especially weather conditions. Can't forget weather conditions here at Watkins Glen. There's so many different variables going on.
And so there you see where everybody sits going into tonight on the Dark Star Garage Power Rankings. Zach, I'm going to take 2 extra picks again, or 1 extra pick again, rather.
Brother.
I'm sorry. I just got to do it. But who you got to win this evening at Watkins Glen?
I hate picking early because it's so, I don't know. If I have to go off the fly,
I'll tell you what,
right
let's
now,
do 2 laps. We're about to start. Let's do 2 laps, and then we can pick then. Does that work for you?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Right.
I respect it.
Here we go, coming to the green at Watkins Glen International. Always good to be at the Glen. We're going to be led to the green this evening by Brock Morris on the front row. This is NORA at the Glen, race 22, 54 laps. Here we go into the start zone, racing on a road course for the final time this season. Green flag. And up the hill at the S's for the first time. Everybody single file, a clean start. That is what we want to see.
Clean and green through turn number 1. That's probably the hardest task of the night. And now we're single file up the hill, down to the bus stop, the top 6. We got spinning right there at the top of the hill through the S's. I think everyone saved it.
He gathered her back up.
Straight. And you saw on the green flag that Malone didn't get the best start compared to Brock Morris, and he tried to cross that 8 over, and the caution is out.
Nick Hom and Caden Henry Oaks giving us a rare road course yellow And we will be halted just as soon as we got going here. We saw this at Sonoma as well back in June. We did not see a caution at Montreal earlier this season. Anytime there are two cars involved in the same incident, that does constitute as a caution, even on road courses here in the NORA Retro Cup Series. So this does put us under yellow, and this will halt us just a little bit. It'll give us a second to think about some win picks, but let the field cycle through and then take a look at what happened to the 5 and 88. And Caden Henry Oaks going to bring that car straight to the pit lane. It seems like he may have been dealt the brunt of the damage. His car looks to be okay other than the back end. Ham's car, it's bent up a little bit, but honestly, I've seen a lot worse do better on a road course.
No meatball flags so far from anybody. Still looking good for the most part. He's just got to get some damage fixed is all.
This is up the hill. We'll see. Guileless have issues first. He's got Chris Winstone right behind. No contact, but Guileless lost control with Winstone right underneath his rear bumper, and then down in the bus stop. Here is Henry Oaks and Ham. They've got Dalton Tucker right behind. Caden checks up, gets into Christenberry briefly, and then Dalton Tucker kind of scoops the 88 up. So here they go down into the bus stop. Everybody having to take it easy this first lap. It's a big part of congestion. See, Caden kind of have to stop, gets into Christenberry, and then Ham gets into him, and Ham ends up getting sent around as well. And I think we might not have had a caution here, Zach, if not for Tucker getting into Ham. But there's just nowhere to go when they all stack up like that.
Just bottlenecks. It's very, very tight. You just have to be on top of things, and we saw the contact in front, then there's more contact, and it's made more apparent with the fact of how these cars are designed, with the front nose swooping down. It's like driving off of a ramp, but the ramp is driving at you, and it lifts those rear tires up.
There's the onboard for Dalton Tucker. You see not much he could have done there, and ends up getting into Ham, who then gets into Caden Henry Oaks again, and this puts us under our first caution of the evening, hopefully only. We don't want to see cautions on road courses, but it does happen from time to time. And it looks like we may go back green this time, as we've got Chance Durheim and a handful of others in the pit lane. Nick Guileless is in. Ham and Henry Oaks are both in. Everybody else will stay out under this yellow. And Zach, this is an opportunity, for us to finally look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. There we go, 54 laps. The race length, not a huge issue. These guys will be trying to play a little bit of fuel strategy, I'm sure. As, let's see, I mean, they can go, we're told about 23 to 24 laps a tank, somewhere in there. 22 to 25 even. So this is definitely a two-stop race. I don't know that you're saving all the way to 27. Although this caution might change that.
It's going to change something. Make things a little bit more interesting for their fuel strategy, but
although really, if you're trying to stretch it, you have to go to like 30 in order to be good at the end. So you're going to need to do a lot of fuel saving here under this yellow, and hopefully these guys are doing that. I don't know that they're going to stretch all the way to the 30, but may as well take a shot, run a handful of laps, and kind of see how it breaks down. And we'll keep an eye on that as the run goes on. And Zach, here we go. The MXWraps.com weather conditions, 83 ambient temp, well, 82 to 83, 110 track temp. That is hot.
Loose! That's what we call it. We call it loose.
Very, very warm. I think we're going green this time. If we don't, we'll take a pause and make our win picks, but I think we're going to restart this time around.
Mark Morris is certainly scrubbing those tires in.
Yeah, these guys they're all lining up like they will be. Sometimes iRacing can be a little bit more particular, but I think we're going to restart this time off of turn number 7. Let's watch that iRacing.com safety car, and here we go. We will go green this time. 3 laps complete. On to lap 4, 54, 51 left to go at the Glen. I gotta say, single file restarts at a road course are a work of art. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, who needs track limits?
Yeah, these guys were using all of turn 1 there on the restart, and that is a set of track-specific rules on the NASCAR layout. You can go way out yonder and use it. If it's gray, it's okay, basically.
That's a great way to say it, especially since we're going over parts of the track that are not gray. You see them using all of the rumble strips, going through the bus stop, over the red, yellow, and blue, the primary colors, as they drive through the carousel and head off into turn 6 and turn number 7. The top 4 trying to break away. Housden and Vincent Arthur getting a little squirrely as everyone's just moving around, finding their racing room, and getting comfortable with another 50 laps around Watkins Glen. The first lap completed under the green flag, and it's going to be led by Brock Morris, getting about 3 car lengths, 4, maybe 5 now out in front of Jacob Malone.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. The guy who started on pole is out front after 1 lap under green. Everybody comes firing across the start-finish line there. Chance Durheim, the last of them, in 22nd. There was a slight issue on the restart, it looks like, for Nick Hom and for Caden Henry Oaks. They may not have ever, caught back up to the field after their trips down the pit lane. You saw the slide there for Caden Henry Oaks. Then I saw Cody Anderson a bit slow there in the S's, and now here we go. The race leader, Brock Morris, putting the red number 8 where it seldom was, in the lead on a road course.
Look at how much he's driving it down into the corner. These cars are just planting through these corners. I mean, the nose is just so freaking low to the ground. Just watching them work is truly a work of art, because I may not be the best road course racer in the world, but I know I can compete and be a solid contender. But these guys, I feel like they're shooting way above my weight class, and it's really fun to watch how they work. Now, we may only be 5 laps in, Andrew, but I'm just going to jump straight into it. If Malone continues to lose, because he lost about another 10th over the course of that lap compared to Brock Morris, how does he respond with fuel strategy? Does he pit early? Does he try to run it out and have extra tire comparative to Brock Morris? What's the game plan here as they're trying to go 3 wide into turn 1?
Frankly, it's too early to say. We're 5 laps in. No clue if these guys saved enough gas under that caution. Just gotta wait and see what these guys opt to do. With no real notes on Watkins Glen, especially half of these drivers not having run Watkins Glen with the series in the past, there's really no telling what these guys end up doing. And especially, I mean, they've got 10 sets laying in the pits. They really can do anything they want if we get more cautions. It just depends on how this race ends up going. But Zach, I mentioned we would do it after lap 2. We had the caution. We've gone a little past lap 2 now. Winner picks, who you got?
I'm going to take Brock Morris. I think with the early speed he's showing now, outside of him,
let's pause.
1 car off.
Issues. Ronnie
Wayne
Norman,
Sparks.
this is big for the chase. Wayne Sparks also
boy.
in the pit lane, but Norman with the bigger issues here. Let's see if we can see what happened to Wayne as well. He's already in the pit lane at this point in time. I'll tell you what, let's go farther back. Let's do this in chronological order. Did not see Wayne come into the pit lane. This happens off of turn 7, it looks like. Loose, caught the curbing on the inside. About spun perfectly into the pits.
If he's already right there, might as well just pull it in. Very Austin Powers moment right here, but
yeah, not
he
ideal.
got it rolling.
And that left the 7 car to have issues down out of the carousel, it looked like. So here's Ronnie Norman racing with Scavnicki behind, Baumler up ahead. He was really good in practice, Zach. He was top 10 in practice, and I thought, wow, Tubb might be in trouble, but now Tubb is having the last laugh. Kyle runs 5th, as Ronnie Norman has potentially crashed out of this race just a half dozen laps into it. Let's see what happened down out of turn 5. Yeah, I don't see Scavnicki hitting him. It's, yeah, too far back. He just got loose and abandoned the lap. Wow. That's big.
Personally, I would have just looped it. And it's a tough thing to say, because realistically, you don't want to spin the car out. You don't want to have to go into the fact of looping it, but that was very straight. Very much looked like it was savable, or at least he could have turned it in some way
Honestly,
to keep it off the barrier.
I don't know Ronnie to do this, but it looks like when somebody is fed up with a car on a track and they just abandon the car off into the dirt just to... Yeah, I mean, he never came back to the right. It looks like he's frustrated and said, that's it, I'm done. That or maybe the wheel came off. I will say, we've seen that a few times in our day of sim racing broadcasting, where somebody has a wheel disconnect. If his wheel wasn't quite seated, fastened onto the base, it may have come loose there, Zach, especially with how big these guys jump the curbs and abuse the car on this course. That's certainly a possibility, as they'll come down the hill here as we make our winner picks finally on, what is it, lap 9. Who you got?
I'm still taking Brock Morris.
Oh, fair enough. So the 8 car off the board there. I'm going to go ahead. I will say one of my picks has to go to this guy, Chris Winstone. Always fun to watch on a road course and getting to know the oval side a bit more. This is an oval car on a road course. He wasn't the happiest in practice, but I want to give him the nod at least, and recognition as he is up from dead last on the grid up to 13th. That's only lap 9. As far as an actual pick at the front, I'm going to go ahead. I picked, I think I picked Malone to win for fantasy. And I'll just go ahead and do it. I'll go ahead and take Jacob Malone just for the heck of it. So we'll see, obviously, how this thing breaks down as Malone runs in second currently. And he is starting to get left, I feel like, by that number 8 car.
Getting left in the dust, about a second and a half off of the 8 car of Morris. And we talked about this in Gas and Go, and just how these two were going to be shaping up for each other. And it's definitely turned into a tricky situation for Jacob Malone, because let me actually just say the quiet part out loud. It has not turned into a tricky situation for Malone. It's turned into a tricky situation for those of us that picked him to win for fantasy lineup. So, dang it.
Well, thankfully, there's a lot of racing left to go. And it's just fantasy. Great battle back here. Kristenberry, Durheim, and some others. Gladwith and Rochelle actually side by side as they climb the hill through the S's. It was the orange Home Depot number 20 that won this race back in 2005. But I do think it's going to be one of those cars in the top 5 currently that ends up winning this thing here today, as Chance Durheim has had an issue out of turn 1. He loops it. Will grab a gear and get back going. Good to see him back in the field, by the way. It was a while that he was away. And regardless of what position he's in, it's good to see that yellow 17 back on the track with us. And Zach, we have been offered, if we would like to grab Ronnie Norman for a quick word, let's go ahead and do so. And Ronnie, we saw what happened there off of the carousel, but what truly happened inside the car?
Unfortunately, my wheel does not like getting turned hard really fast. And when I had that little bit of a... When I went over the rumble strips, she started getting loose on me, and I corrected it, and the wheel just shut off. So, yeah, not what I needed, not today, not with the way the points were looking. So, just really frustrating, because, like I said, I was running. I felt like I had some pace with practice, and was honestly looking forward to this race. And yeah, just out of it really early, and yeah, now it's just I just know it's gonna hurt really bad in the points.
Yeah, and when it happened, I even said, I don't know Ronnie to do this, but it looks almost like you just kind of set the car off track in frustration. But, I mean, like I said, we just don't know you to do that. So then it's, is it maybe a wheel issue? And it sounds like you just, what equipment do you have? I mean, is that a common issue?
Yeah, I've known of it. Normally, you just got to be steady. And I'm on a Thrustmaster that's like 10 years old, so she does not like to be turned really fast a lot. So, which is weird, because I mean, when I do some dirt racing, it's not too bad either. But I don't know. It's just once out of the blue, it'll shut off, and then I have to unplug it and turn it back on, and give it like a minute or two to sit, and then next thing you know, she'll turn back on, reset, and we're good to go. But unfortunately, with these races, once you're done in here. So yeah, just a tough break for sure.
Well, Ronnie, it's good to talk with you. Hopefully you can at least get back out there for a handful of laps and try to salvage something today. But if this is it for the day, best of luck next week at Michigan.
Yeah, the crew guys already told me it was too much damage, so I guess I'm gonna hop off here and get some extra time with the wife tonight. So we'll do that then.
Fair enough. That's not a bad compromise. Best of luck next week.
All right, thanks, man.
Ronnie Norman out early here at Watkins Glen. And Zach, I mean, it's just like I mentioned when it happened and mentioned just now to him. You know, we don't know Ronnie to just kind of rage quit, more or less. But it looked like it, and that certainly helps tell the tale of what happened there. Issues with his wheel, and yeah, I actually just saw his car disappear off pit lane. So that will do it for the number 7 here today, which really, really hurts because that is the Robbie Gordon number 7 that was oh so fast here. And, you know, Robbie's only NASCAR Cup Series win was on a road course. So certainly would hate to, well, we do hate to see that car that far down the order. His problems here for Rochelle. He is out in the dirt. I think that's the bus stop. No, that's turn 7. Yeah, I thought it was all paved at the bus stop, and it is. So, yeah, that was absolutely out wide at 6 and 7. There's the onboard for Rochelle.
I don't know why, but I have a very distinct memory of Robbie Gordon winning New Hampshire, but I think that was Jeff Burton.
I believe Robbie Gordon and Jeff Gordon had a very bad time together at New Hampshire one year. 01, I think.
Yes, that was the one that Jeff Burton did win. Okay, so, like, my brain is thinking differently.
So Rochelle, a quick excursion out into the dirt at turn 6. Got back on for turn 7. Here's Brock Morris leading the way. And it does not look like he'll be looking back anytime soon. And back around lap 6, Zach, you asked me, you know, what is the strategy going to look like? We're going to find out soon. Because if these guys are trying to cut this race down into thirds, that would be 18, 18, 18. We know they've got to make 2 stops traditionally without saving fuel to, you know, make it a one-stop race. And I don't think you can make this a one-stop race without another caution. So if they are breaking this down into equal thirds, they should be on pit lane at about 5 to 6 more laps.
18, 36, 54. Yes. Wait, if it's 18, wouldn't that make it a 2-stop race?
No. Or yes, 2-stop race. That's what I said.
But you said 3 stops.
There's 3 runs. If you break it down into 3 runs.
Oh.
18 laps apiece.
Brain power, man. It's not my strong suit tonight.
And I'm the one that was at a concert late last night.
Yeah, we like to have our fun. Speaking of fun, there's a little bit of gravel on the track, which these guys are working to avoid off of turn number 7. Windstone getting a little loose there, but he is working his way forward still. This is on board with John Skavnicki in the 12th spot. Currently chasing down that 11th place position of Kevin Baumler, who gets a little bit loose over the curbing, and Skavnicki's going to close up a little. Now, these guys are pinching turn 2, going into the S's, a little bit more than guys like Morris or Malone are, and it's easy to notice the little things that they're doing over the course of the lap that the leaders aren't doing, or are doing better at, as Skavnicki moves on by, takes Windstone right with them.
Yeah, Baumler,
and it just shows the differences.
Baumler, I think, realizing those guys were maybe getting held up by his pace, so he lets them go on through. Baumler drops down to 13th spot. And, you know, you go back to the power rankings coming into this evening, this is going to change things up as well, this race this evening. You know, Ronnie has been on this graphic in past weeks. He's certainly not going to get back up here. Cody Anderson actually is on here for the first time, I believe, this season, but he's down in 14th. And I just noticed, actually, Sparks has also called it a day, and Chance Durheim has followed them both out. So 3 cars out of the race now, just a handful of laps in. But, yeah, Baumler and Anderson are going to take another big hit tonight. And it might be hard to justify them being in the top 10 next week, although Anderson does pass Baumler here into turn 1. And then, of course, you have Malone in second. Housen, Arthur,
Durheim!
were all the top 5, and Sure enough, Chase Durham off the racetrack. The car looks okay.
Goes for a bit of a half spin, loses some ground, but he gathers it back up pretty quickly.
Just a lazy spin for Durham. He gets back going, and everything's all okay. I don't think he even lost a spot in that. And no, he didn't. Nick Gillis actually stays behind him. So not even a change of position there for Durham, just some lost time. Battle here, Jake Christenberry, and of course we mentioned in Gas and Go, it's not at all likely for the 11 to make the chase. In fact, I believe he is more or less eliminated. I mean, technically, I suppose he could still make it. But it would take a lot of things going right, especially with the car count lately being, 30 to 25 usually. So I don't know that Christenberry has a whole lot of hope in that number 11 car right now, but he at least needs to stay at it. And passing Baumler there, getting up to 13th, that's obviously an extra step along the way. Still a lot of work to do, Zach, but I also want to look at this battle. 4th and 5th. We've actually... Oh my gosh, Zach. Vincent Arthur out of the race. I was going to say, I knew Tub was 5th, not 4th.
I knew it. 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 Oh, man.
There you see, it's driver error. Wow.
It was so hard to place bets on Vincent Arthur going into this race because he has just been such a good driver, but there have been so many inconsistencies, whether it be of his fault or not of his fault. And you can see he just popped the curb in and corrected the car and went right into the barrier.
A really big hit. And thankfully he had a lot of racetrack behind him. You see Rochelle going for a quick spin. But yeah, thankfully there was a lot of racetrack behind Vincent so that he could get the car to a stop and get escaped. But well, this is a really, really big hit for him. Here's the onboard. Hear him pulling, I think, second gear down there into the bus stop.
He gets through the bus stop really well. That's some of the best driving through there that I've seen.
But then off the carousel
that car
here,
just rotates.
It's kind of rotating on the throttle, comes out to the curbing, and just as he's sideways on the curb, it just takes off and smashes there into the wall, and that's it for the 24 this evening. And that's another case of what I mentioned to you and Josh Conover in private conversation earlier today, that he's just the I hate to say this, Vincent, you might hate me for this for a little bit, but the worst good driver in the league, at least that I've seen in a while. As here is a pit stop from Malone, this is worth mentioning. This is right at the 3rd mark for the race, so Malone is in for service. But I mean, Vincent, there's no doubting his talent. He's got the win from Martinsville earlier this season, as more drivers will come in behind Malone. But it's inconvenient issue after inconvenient issue for Arthur this year, whether it's connection issue or driver error or what have you. It's so hard to bet on the 24. He should be top 3 in the standings, 100% based on his talent, his speed in this car, in this field. He should be top 3, but there is just always something happening to the guy.
So let's see. That takes out Conover. That takes out your driver for fastest lap. Brady Motes gets a hit there. Baumler gets a hit there.
Well, back up. Where is Conover taken out?
No. I'm talking about people who picked him for fantasy. Like, I'm kind of building off that point that you said it's hard to bet on the 24.
Hang on. Let's pause here. We have pit stops. This is our race leader, Brock Morris, coming in. And I would expect we see a couple more come in. Yes, we do. Brian Jones skips, but Alton Tucker comes in. So this seems like a DEI strategy, possibly. I would expect Baumler in this lap as well. Although I say that, and Houston kept going, and there goes Baumler as well.
The car staying on the racetrack and looking down the running order. I'm trying to find... I don't know. I'm trying to find where the strategy is playing out for everybody, because I don't know if I fully agree with staying out this long when the faster guys have pitted already. It's hard to gauge field strategy just because at tracks like an oval, you have the potential for full course yellows. Something that could easily change the tide of the strategy. Whereas something like a road course, you don't always have that added benefit. Obviously, yes, we have the potential for full course cautions, but maybe not as much as we would see on an oval. So I don't really fully agree now with running longer. I think it's best to pit a little bit earlier.
I think there's some room for moving around a little bit. It's early yet, and we see here's Housden coming right in right after those other guys, maybe just trying to avoid a, you know, what's the word? Claustrophobic pit lane potentially. Kyle Tubb is also in, coming down into his box. This could also just be a play to take maybe a little less fuel, have a shorter run coming up, and try to only take one set of tires today possibly. If you have a really short run followed by a pretty normal run, that could just be one normal run of tires. So I don't think there's any reason to panic yet. Let's give it 5 laps and see where these guys are at, as Conover did keep going this lap. There he is, down on the carousel. So he has stayed on the racetrack along with Krobach, Jones, Winstone, Anderson, Baumler, Durheim, and Gladgelich still yet to pit under this cycle. Also waiting to see Hom and Henry Oakes in the pit lane under this run. We do see Kyle Rochelle coming in, and it looks like Caden Henry Oakes will follow. No, he will keep going. As does our race leader, Conover. And hey, we saw the fuel games at Indy last week, right? Just a little bit of it anyways. We've seen it at Pocono throughout the summer. This could be a fuel strategy game from him, as Brian Jones is in for service. And nobody really following this lap. I mean, of course, a lot of guys have already made their stops. Most of the field has, but I'm still surprised, relatively, to not see anybody else coming in this lap, as there's Jones.
Slow entry by Jones.
Yeah, really,
was it just me?
Really easy.
I thought it was just me for a second.
Of course, the entry is not really easy, but he took it really easy, very ginger onto the pit lane, and even off. Not spinning those tires at all, trying to maintain them as best as he can. He'll get back on the racetrack here in the 14th position. He should pass a few guys back up after pit stops. I'm looking at Anderson, Baumler, and Durheim that should cycle behind him. Possibly even Winstone, but at the moment, speaking of Winstone, he has got Brock Morris all over his back bumper, and we've come to think of Winstone as one of our road ringers. Tonight, though, he's kind of learning, just like everybody else in this field, learning this car still on this racetrack, and he said earlier that he practiced on the wrong setup, actually, to get ready for this race. So he's having to learn the setup all over again, and that is really tricky in a car like this.
Absolutely. And he's doing his very best. He goes way wide right there. Morris goes on through. And Winstone, having yet to pit, he's just going to have to try and set himself up. I wonder if Winstone is going for a one-stop, or trying to at least.
I think it's too early to say. Because, again, if they do try to stretch it on fuel, they've got to get to, like, lap 29 or 30. I don't want to jump to any conclusions tonight. We've been bit a lot on trying to figure out strategies lately. It does sound like kind of a lame duck upshift there for Winstone. Like maybe he is trying to run a higher gear to save a bit, but oh man, you can tell Malone is digging.
Digging as much as he can. He's about as close as he's been to Brock Morris. As you see, Winstone up the road in front is heading to the pit lane. So it will more than likely still be a two-stop strategy for that 27 car. And now that just leaves Josh Conover as the last car to stay out on the racetrack, having yet to pit. And Malone still in excess of about 3 seconds to Brock Morris. I mean, this is truly taking shape as potentially falling in the favor of Morris.
Gladgelich also staying out this lap. He and Conover, and then Anderson and Baumler, the final 4 that have not yet pitted under this run, and still a lot to be learned, I think, by these guys staying out to this point. Again, you know, we've learned the theoretical range of these cars is about 25 laps. So to stretch this, to make it just a one-stop, you got to complete 27. And that's just saving without the caution. With the caution, I mean, yeah, and you see, Conover's coming in at the end of completion of 24. With that pace lap, especially they had at the start of the race, Zach, I don't see them making this a one-stop race. I think this is guys just trying to maybe put themselves, you know, in position if we do get a second caution to maybe save at that point in time. Otherwise, I think maybe just running their own thing, trying to have a short run where they don't take tires. Baumler's in.
Possibility. I don't think if I fully agree.
Anderson
with
does not pit.
Taking tires.
And Gladgelich will. By the way, still waiting to see this guy in victory lane. He's done so in our Legends series on a dirt track a time or two. And certainly we know, I think he won the Prelude this year. Regardless, we know Baumler can get it done, just not necessarily on a road course. I don't know that tonight will be the night. He's also won the pole, though, for a couple of other races. I think back to Richmond this spring where he won the pole and led a bunch of laps. Led a bunch of laps. Ran most of that race towards the front, but couldn't get it done. Richmond is coming back around. Maybe Baumler can get it done then. As we get closer and closer to halfway. In fact, this time by will be 2 laps away for our race leader, Brock Morris. Kind of fell flat last week, not gonna lie, Indianapolis, but it seems like his prowess is still shining through on a road course here this evening, Zach. I don't think there's any betting against the number 8 right now, unless something really, really crazy happens.
You are the chaos bringer, so who knows what's going to happen.
On board, Brock Morris. He's hustling the car a little bit too. Watch his telemetry bottom right now. Down to third, real quick downshift. Waits on it for second. Gonna pull it maybe right here? No, keeps it in third. That's how much momentum he's carrying. A lot of these guys are kind of, by habit, putting themselves down into second. A lot of cars you would do that. A lot of stock cars you would do that here at Watkins Glen. But Morris keeping it in third all the way through that complex of the bus stop into the carousel. That's really interesting. By the way, Nick Hamm is finally on the pit lane as well, and he did pit under that first caution, so he had a bit of extra fuel range, but he is coming in now as Morris finally pulls second gear. A little free there in turn 7. There's third. No fourth.
I've not seen a lot of guys hit 4th gear at this track in this car. It's very rare.
They certainly are on the backstretch, but not on the front stretch, it looks like.
Yeah, the only time that I feel like you would be in 4th gear on the front stretch is if you want a little extra engine braking, and even then, it's not totally necessary. Looking back a little bit further, though, this is Brian Jones running in the 9th position, running on board with him now. Let's see where he goes through the gears. Up to third gear.
Stays in third. Nick Gillis, by the way, in the pit lane. He ran 24 laps. Here comes Nick Gillis, or not Nick Gillis, here comes Jacob Gladgelich. Gillis still on the pit lane. He's actually exiting now. He'll exit in the 16th spot. Let's listen in with Gladgelich down the front straightaway. Should be third gear for him as well. Kind of a slow upshift. Leaves it in third. Just touches the chip and right back down into second gear for turn 1. So that gives you kind of a feel of what these guys are doing where on the racetrack. I think it's to be expected. Certainly that they would always hit 4th gear on the back straightaway, but third gear might be a surprise to some for the front stretch. And I want to see here for a driver that's towards the back of the field, if he pulls second, or I guess bumps down to second down here in turn, or in the bus stop, and yeah, he does. By the way, Kyle Rochelle has called it an evening, so 5 cars now out of the race, and I want to commend somebody so far for staying in it to this point that is having a rough night. Caden Henry Oaks, 19th, has been back there since the very first caution. Started 17th. Seems like maybe the road course is not his thing in this car, but he's not leaving. He's not calling it a day early. He is going to stay in this race, I'm sure, as long as he can, and I commend that. I would call him up after. I would call him up after this. There we go. If I get the words out straight, and I would let him know my displeasure if he left a little bit early. That's just because he and I are friends outside of all of this, but it is good to see Caden putting in his 100% for the evening and not quitting. I know a lot of guys in his position would be discouraged, rightly so, but thankfully he is staying in the race.
Well, he'll certainly gain some positions. Speaking of positions, here's a fight for some. That is Skavnicki and Christenberry fighting it out for the 11th spot. Skavnicki's going to have it right now. Christenberry wants it. That's Winstone in front of them up the road. He's cracked the top 10. And I think a caution to bunch these guys up would really prove beneficial for someone like Winstone. He has driven through the field so far. The next car up the road to pass would be Hunter Sr., and he is currently sitting about 8 seconds in front of these guys. Then it would be Tubb up the road a bit further, another 2 seconds up the road, and then another 2 seconds up the road to that to Brian Jones. And then thinking about someone like Christenberry here, his competition is still in front of him. You've got Tubb sitting in the 8th spot. Krobach's around in the carousel. He gets back rolling. We stay green.
A little quick excursion. Looks like the car is okay. Maybe backed it into the tire barriers there outside of turn 5. Nothing too crazy. That drops him down to the 9th spot. Was having a decent run before that, actually. Was up right behind Tucker, so he was 6th at the time of this spin. This is down into the bus stop. The spin is out of the carousel.
Ooh, hops a little bit through there. Yeah.
Just backed it in, loose, and yeah, just couldn't gather it up.
I think the hops are what threw him off there. Might have clipped the grass a little bit too. Thankfully, no damage on the race car, but it's so easy to just wheel hop and snap that car around.
There's a tiny bit of right rear damage, and I mean a tiny bit. If it was an oval car, it wouldn't have the same amount of side force, and that's about it. I mean, it's barely pushed in the right rear. Otherwise, yeah, that car relatively untouched. So he will continue on, like I said, 9th place. Next behind him is about 3.5 seconds back. That'd be Chris Winstone. Behind Winstone, you find Skavnicki, then Christenberry, then Anderson, Durheim, and everybody else. As this is still the mid portion of this race. That caution earlier, it had the possibility, Zach, of shaking things up, but it has very much gotten right back to kind of what we expected, kind of this long green flag pattern where guys are just managing their own race, and that's what you want to see out of these road course races. There was some conversation actually earlier today in the NORA Discord about, you know, do we want these races to be exciting, try to put on a better product for the broadcast, and I was pretty quick to jump in there and say, hey guys, we don't need to worry about the product for the broadcast. You guys have done great. We need some boring races. We need some races that just aren't necessarily as exciting and maybe a little more forgettable, because that means the ones that are special, that are genuinely exciting and unforgettable moments matter that much more, and they stick out that much more in our minds. So a race like this tonight, that's okay. I'm sure in 06, so next year in 2027, I'm sure it'll be better and maybe a little more exciting for these guys. It's okay if this race is a little more boring and just a straight up beatdown by Brock Morris.
Brock Morris has certainly been putting the beat down on as Hunter Sr. is around in the bus stop. He gets back rolling. He falls outside the top 10.
On
Here we are going down the backstretch.
Our new points leader. This might contribute to him losing the points lead after this evening. It's a little free
still in
there.
front of Tucker.
Not on the racetrack.
Dude,
he
really?
isn't.
No, he hits. He's not?
Buddy Dalton Tucker is 5th.
Never mind.
Bit of a slide. That's all right. I mean, he grabs the car, well, gathers it back up, and I mean, sure, it's going to lose him some spots, but frankly, I know a lot of these guys have considered these road courses a wash already because of how good Malone was. Then you add Brock Morris to the conversation, and that just dilutes it even farther. So I don't think many of these guys are going to be that upset if they have a couple of excursions off the racetrack this evening. Just keep going, try to get what you can, and frankly, you look at your top three, Zach, they're decently close together compared to the rest of the field. Morris leading, obviously, 5 seconds back to Malone, 8 more back to Housden, and it's 31 total back to Josh Conover in fourth. So these three clearly are just in their own race at the front, and then it's everybody else.
Yeah. Everything's just gotten so spread out now. I'm going to make a quick bet, though, and say that Chris Winstone finishes in the top 5.
Maybe. He is closing in on Krobach, so that could be a spot there for 8th. I'm going to be honest, though, Zach. I think the experience the next handful of guys ahead of him have in this car might be enough to keep them up there. I mean, actually, Winstone has just had a problem, it looks like. Oh, he's pitting. That's what it is. No, he towed. So, you have cursed him.
Man.
Well, this is going to be day done for Chris Winstone, it looks like. Down in turn 1. Deep into the first braking zone of the lap. Actually lost it on a downshift and slams into the wall, and that's it for him. So Chris
is not going to like me for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chris, when you go back and watch this, blame Zach. I didn't do it.
Nuts.
He just messaged us, one of our group chats. Missed his braking marker for the Cup car, braked at his GT3 marker. If that isn't the most Chris Winstone Road Ringer thing I've ever seen from him. Look, we know he's good. We know he's got talent. Today, just a bit of an off day for him. Let him get back in the next one and have a good day, and he'll be all right. Can't win them all. One more look. And it's just because Chris is in the booth with me this Thursday for NARL at Le Mans that we're taking so many looks at his crash here. So yeah, Winstone in trouble. Pit stops, kick him back up. Malone is in the pit lane, and this is maybe slightly earlier than I expected, Zach. I mean, he pitted right at 18 earlier as he's trying to fight Durham to get down to his box. He finally gets there, maybe a little deep, yes. Slight adjustment. I don't think he was going to catch Morris anyways, but that's certainly going to hurt him slightly more. And that is a 4-tire stop out of the driver that's been second most of the evening so far. He'll get back going, and it looks like he will join back in at about the 7th position. Maybe even 6th. There's Tubb, and yeah, he's going to slot back in ahead of the 32 car.
The question remains now is how does Brock Morris respond? Because if he wants to keep the advantage over the 18, he has to pit soon. Because now, Malone's going to be clicking off laps on fresher tires.
I mean, the fall off is a half second. I don't know if it's a huge deal, as Morris will cover it up anyways, but the fall off is only a half second for these guys so far. Honestly, I would not be surprised to see a couple of these drivers, especially the guys who stayed out longer that first run, not take tires here to the end. I don't know that you need to. Or if you're going to, maybe bolt on left since you're doing a lot of right-hand turns.
It's an idea.
There's Morris down and away. He is 3rd currently. Trying to keep it that way, and he will, as a couple of drivers pit this lap, maybe. Actually, no. Here's Tubb to the inside of Jones. This is for 5th currently. Tucker did pit. But there is Nick Hom, the lap car, right ahead of these guys. Tubb gets the position. That's big for a driver trying to take advantage of Ronnie Norman's woes. This could be what gets him in the chase.
Being aggressive. That's the best way to put it. Tubb is doing a great job as Hom moves on over, lets him go, but cuts right back in front of Brian Jones. If that were me, I would have let both of them go right there.
Hom gets off the racetrack there on the carousel, so he will let these guys continue on. Ryan Housden carries on a little bit longer here on this run, right behind Jacob Gladulitz, trying to put him a lap down. There's Conover, followed closely by Morris. Conover's on his own strategy, and again, he could be one that we see maybe not take tires on this upcoming pit stop in, maybe 5 to 10 more laps. And this is where Morris is going to have to learn a lot about the drivers he's racing against for the next however many weeks, because, yeah, he's got speed on a road course, but he doesn't know exactly where these guys are going to let him go, and they're racing for position right now, technically. Yes, on different strategies, but technically racing for position, so it's not just a free give-me, go-ahead. He's got to be careful, especially against a guy like Josh Conover. Heck, whether it's Brady Motes or Brock Morris in that car, Josh Conover is going to give him a hard time and play Ryan Newman. So I say that, and Josh, I think, just left a little too much room on the inside of the racetrack. There goes Brock Morris, and that is a position gain. Regardless, I don't think that was by choice from Josh Conover. I think that just kind of happened that way. Hunter Sr. in and out of the pit lane. He'll head back out. Christenberry also heading back out onto the racetrack. They will rejoin the track right around Chase Durheim, who has also made his second stop of the day. So that is a pass for position to the end. Durheim back out ahead over Christenberry and Senior. Senior, the points leader coming into the afternoon, really could use those points.
Is it too early to start doing chase math in my head?
Yes. Let's leave that for somewhere else closer to the chase. Richmond or California, maybe. Which actually brings me to a good point. Well, after this fuel run, we'll take a look at the schedule, maybe. But here we go. Pit stop now from Ryan Housden. He will come in out of the race lead. And it's good to see the fan club of Brock Morris is out in force. Shane Graboid chiming in. Good to see him out in the chat this evening. As we should see Conover hit the pit soon. The big question, Zach, is whether or not Ryan Housden actually takes tires here. As there's Brock Morris, new fast lap, a 1:10.73.
And up on the jack goes Housden.
Ryan Jones also coming in, and yeah, this maybe is a little bit early for some of these guys to go no tires for sure, but I mean, only 16 laps complete for Jones, 14 complete for Krobach, 19 complete, however, for Scavnicki, 12 complete for Anderson as he comes in. I'm a little bit perplexed by them having done what they've done, kind of like you were earlier, Zach, but we had to wait and see what they were going to do, and now I share your perplexion, if you will.
My perplexion?
Yeah, I mean, you were talking, what was it, 10, 15 laps ago about how these guys were staying out, and you didn't really understand why, and at the time, I kind of pedaled you back and said, hey, let's see how this plays out first, but now I share your sentiments. I don't know really why guys decided to stay out earlier and then pit here and still take tires. I don't see any benefit to that, as Kyle Tubb will come in. I'm telling you, if I'm Tubb, if I'm Conover, I would have run as many laps as I can on this tank and take no tires, just run it to the end. Even Chris Winstone saying in YouTube chat, the tires are not that bad, and I mentioned it a few laps ago. The fall off was only about a half second. Maybe for some closer to a second if they maybe weren't as confident on with the car and the tires, but for the leaders, it was only about a half second as Tubb will take tires, at least left sides. And sure enough, right sides follow the lefts. And Tubb is down and away. Granted, he's got track position to be able to do it. He's going to be top 10 still. 7th as he rejoins the race course. And certainly has an opportunity to get a couple more as Baumler and Conover have yet to pit. And Krobach is back in. Perhaps a speeding penalty here for the 49 car.
Not seeing any black flags being handed out. Wait. Yes, black flag for the 49.
Coming in and grabbing service as well. That's going to hold him back, and it looks like he is done. So, Brock Morris continues to lead, and Zach, I think our driver of the day vote is going to be even more clear-cut and finalized than the other road courses this season, but that's just the way it goes. When you are good in stock cars on a road course, you are good. And here you go. I mean, Brock Morris is just that guy today.
He's been phenomenal out in front. Nobody has been capable of touching him.
Skavnicki going to give
7 seconds.
Skavnicki going to give room here to Morris. I wonder if Senior can try and take advantage. He will not down to turn 1. This is a spot that Hunter could really use. You know, talking about the point standings as we near the chase cutoff, Hunter getting the lead back after Tucker's issues last week at Indianapolis. This could be a really good opportunity for Hunter Senior, but he's got to get a couple of spots back. I mean, he's chasing Skavnicki, Christenberry, and maybe Durheim. If he can get those cars, that'd be big for him.
Every point matters. That's what they tell you with this style of racing. Maybe not more as much as it was with straight up points racing rather than a chase, but the points still matter.
If you're new to the series, if you're new to the broadcast, maybe just joining us for the first time this evening, thanks for doing so here tonight. And I want to mention that these races in the NORA Retro Cup Series in 2026 are brought to you by Harpoon Design, Sparks Builders, Dark Star Garage, and NORA, the National Oval Racing Association. You can certainly always join in on the fun. If your I rating is under, well, 4,000 or under, you can still sign up, I believe, and run an open car. I'm sure you can go through us to get you to the right place as far as how to join the NORA Retro Cup Series. There's still plenty of races left to go this season. And then the premise of this series, Zach, if you're new to the series, and I say this because I know we've got Shed Troll out there who was actually in our broadcast a couple of days ago at Mount Washington in the iRacing Hill Climb community. So it's good to see him, maybe some other new faces out in the YouTube chat this evening. If you're new to this series, this is, as you can tell, retro NASCAR Cup racing, basically rewinding back 21 years. This is their, quote, 2005 season. They're doing their best to replicate some 2005 vibes. The schedule is heavily based on the 2005 season, and most of the driver lineup is as well, at least the car lineup. And if you look at the schedule, Zach, here you are. By the way, some new edits to this schedule graphic. Daytona, of course, kicked us off back in February. We are all the way at race 22, Watkins Glen here this evening. From here to the chase, we're talking about Michigan, Bristol, California, and Richmond. Just 4 races to go after tonight. Essentially a month of racing, August, and then we begin that chase August 31st at New Hampshire.
The races are just ticking away. Not much time left to go. It's been a fun season so far. We've really just been pounding away at these races. It's hard to believe we're so far into the season already.
Yeah, it just keeps on rolling by, and I mean, this is a great little pit stop, I think, for us. You know, these road courses in the summer have been really nice to have as a part of things, obviously, and road courses, I think, belong in NASCAR, certainly, but we had oval, 15 races, then these road courses here in the summer stretch, and from here out, it'll be back to the ovals for 14 straight races. Regardless, it's good to have this kind of pit stop, relax a little bit, as for both us and the drivers. It's about to be a very quick and very punishing, in some cases, 4-race stretch into the chase that begins at New Hampshire. And then you see Rockingham slotted in place of, oh gosh, I forget what race they shook around. I can't recall off the top of my head. I know they did some massaging of the schedule to make sure to fit in Montreal and Rockingham this season. Regardless, I think it takes the place of the fall Darlington date. No, because that went to California. Point being, Rockingham is going to be a lot of fun for these guys, especially in the chase, Zach. I think that is going to be a really big wild card to kick the chase off. From there, I mean, it's pretty stereotypical NASCAR tracks. Talladega, going to be fun in the draft, and then from there heading to Kansas. It'll be the first time we go to Kansas this season, which feels weird to say, but you only went to Kansas in the fall at one point in time. Then they added the spring race later on. Charlotte, Martinsville, Atlanta, Texas, Phoenix, Miami. I mean, quintessential NASCAR tracks, nothing too crazy. It's just a matter of being the absolute best over those 10 races.
Just executing to the best of your ability. Making sure that making sure you minimize the mistakes.
And you can tell Chris Winstone is excited about Kansas coming up in the YouTube chat. Hope to see him in the field when we get there. Maybe we could even get Trey Patton in. He's in the YouTube chat tonight. Trey, if you're under 4,000 I rating, we can get you in for a race or two. And you see Shed Troll actually asking about how often these races are weekly. Get in contact. We'll get it figured out as Jacob Malone puts pressure here on the number 48 of Josh Conover, and look at the curb these guys are taking.
A lot of curb. Conover stuck on the outside line. Malone underneath them, trying to find a way around this 48. Wonder if he's going to try to cross him over here going down to the corner. No, they're going to stay side by side. Conover tries to defend, but Malone gets it around the right side. Rolls on through.
Oh, and the slide there off of turn 7 for the 18 car. He definitely burnt those rears up a little bit, and I mean, he's just trying to have a fun race now for second place. It is really not a fight for any of the positions in the top 3 once Conover pulls off and pits for the final time today. That will pretty much just solidify things. He's 22 laps deep in this run, and it's just not going to stretch all the way out to the end of this race. Might be waiting on a caution, and frankly, there could be one right ahead of him. Here's Hunter Sr. trying to get ahead of John Skavnicki. This is 13th on the racetrack, and you never know. I say that, there goes Senior up the racetrack, giving plenty of room to Malone, and hopping right out of the way. At the same time, you know, I know we're trying to hype up the points battle between the 4 and the 3, but I don't know how worried Senior truly is about it. As here's a little fight, contact, there goes Anderson around at turn 7.
John slips through.
That's not justification for a caution, I don't think, but Anderson all over the racetrack, and that was nearly the yellow that Conover needed. Then you see the 48 dip to the pit lane right there in the background. Wow, what a moment as Gladiolus just tags the 33, sends him for a spin. That could have changed the entire race if just anybody had hit him there. And there's Conover into the box. Let's take a look back at what just happened in turn 7 moments ago for the number 33. That's a little bit late in it. We'll back it up even farther and take a look, because this stems from an earlier battle with Gladiolus. They were actually right there getting passed up by Brock Morris. Well, this is right behind the race leader. You see Gladiolus lock up at turn 6. Anderson fills the gap. And I think Jacob just missed the bottom of turn 7. Wow. Some guys are very, very lucky that other cars were not involved in this. Other guys are very, very upset that other cars were not involved in this. Some mega misses there,
Caution.
Zach.
Yeah, caution would really shake things up. I think Durheim's probably my best nomination for Emergency Sports Murderous Mega Miss, but out in front still. 6 laps to go. Morris is so cleaning away out in front.
He's even got Durheim 1 lap down, who runs in the 8th position. Next up the road, it would be about a 14-second gap still for Brock to run down to get up to the 45, but it would be Brian Jones next up the way as far as lap cars go, Zach. And tell you what, now's as good a time as any. Let's go ahead and nominate drivers for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. I'd imagine it would be easy to just lock the 8 car in. Do you want to take him or should I?
I'll let you have this one.
We'll go ahead and just put Brock Morris on top by default. I will then step in, I suppose, and take the 2nd spot in this. And I'm actually going to go... Who do I want to go for? I think Dalton Tucker is a great move, actually. 14 spots since the start of this race. And he's been in the battles on road courses, mostly with Vincent Arthur. But he really just has not been a road course guy, necessarily. I mean, he's been in the conversation, I suppose, towards the front, running about where he is right here. But to have to have gone through the field to get to this point, a great day here from Dalton Tucker as he looks to potentially retake the points lead.
Doing a fantastic job right now.
Who you got? Your 2 picks.
I'm just so at a loss here. If I had to take another pick, I'd probably go with Durheim.
You still have to make 2 picks.
I know. But my first pick is probably going to be for Durheim. He's up 12 spots. He's done a really good job, actually. He's up 12 spots. And then, honestly, I'm going to pick Tubb. He's done a really good job of holding track position, keeping himself in a good points fight. I'm trying to think unconventional, because usually a lot of our picks stem from closer to the top of the field, but I really want to find some stories, like Tubbs, for instance, a little bit further down the field. Maybe not too far down, though, that have shown some good strength, we'll say.
Well, as we're only a few laps away from the end of this race, that vote is now live over in the YouTube chat, and this could be a good little fight for 5th place. Tubb is not far back of Dalton Tucker, and the last couple of laps from Tubb have actually been quicker than the number 3. So that vote live on YouTube. Let's ride on board potentially with Kyle Tubb and see if he's able to get up to the driver of the 3. And oh, Tucker out wide. Here's that run. Can Tubb get there into turn 2? Up the S's. No dice yet. Just wait for the bus stop.
Oh, he gets right to the bumper.
Here he goes. Into the bus stop. Kyle Tubb gonna have a run. He does not try to outbrake the number 3. 6-time winner on the season, I believe. Dalton Tucker hangs on to this spot for now. Kyle Tubb still winless, but needs these points to put himself in the chase. And it's not an official teammate or anything like that, but Tucker and Ronnie Norman do typically race in the same Discord chat. So maybe Tucker has an invested interest in protecting this spot to help Ronnie Norman out that much more. As there you see Caden Henry Oaks off the racetrack 2 laps down. He'll let these guys keep fighting. Can Kyle Tubb get there?
He's trying his hardest. Trying with everything he's got. Down into 1, breaks a little bit deeper to stay with the 3. Little loose, but stays in it.
There you see last lap about, well, 6/10, yeah, 6/10 the gap. Last lap, Tubb was quicker, but now he's burning his stuff up getting there. Only has 2 laps to go. Actually, 3. They're on lap 52 still. These two are. So 2.5 laps. for
The
Tubb to
leaders
get to
just
Tucker.
took 2 to go, though.
Right, it's still 2.5 for these guys, is what I'm saying, and
Right.
they've got that little bit of extra time. Maybe Tubb can cool his tires down and get back at it. There you see the last lap, though, compared for each of them. Meanwhile, Brock Morris is down in the carousel. Nearly has these guys a lap down, as actually Nick Gillis is around on the front stretch. He is having trouble getting that car turned back around. He'll be able to do so. He's got some clear track behind, and he will resume course as here comes Dalton Tucker and Kyle Tubb. Oh, Tubb kind of pulled a Scandi flick there into turn 1. Gonna pull the car out left just to pull it back to the right. I don't know if that's gonna help him, and we'll see exactly how this final lap goes, as here we go. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams one more time around. Watkins Glen International for Brock Morris. We're going to have a very full final lap, that's for sure. Malone in second steadily. Housden steadily in third. Conover steadily in fourth. But then it's the battle for fifth. Can Kyle Tubb get there to the 3 car right here before the buzzer? There are other fights. In fact, here's one of them. Skavnicki Anderson Sr. They're all together and not far behind Durheim and Christenberry. Here they are to the backstretch. So a lot going on in the final lap at Watkins Glen, but in just his second start, Brock Morris, we were promised that he would be towards the front at least one of these races. Wasn't sure exactly where he would shine. And while Indianapolis may have fell flat as a brick, off of turn number 7, Brock Morris will put himself in the win column, winning at Watkins Glen in NORA. Number 8 wins on a road course. Here's that fight for 5th. So as Malone, Housden, and Conover finish second, third, and fourth, this is the next fight up. Really good run through. Must stop for Tubb. Can he get there on the carousel, maybe? I think if you can get there in 6 or 7, you got to consider the bumper. I know
he's loose.
No, that's it.
That's it, right there.
I know it's not a huge spot for Tubb, but any point he can get, you want to get. And so if you can use the bumper to nudge by, you want to, but I just don't think it's going to happen down here in turn 7. Sure enough, Dalton Tucker will not be intimidated by Kyle Tubb's advances, and so they will finish as such, 5th, 6th, and then 7th for Brian Jones, just in the distance, as Brock Morris will then get to celebrate here at Watkins Glen, and there he goes. A car that, ran perfectly until now. That car is junk after that hit. Looks like he's still got steering in it, but it is not driving ideally after that hit to the outside wall in his celebration. Regardless, Brock Morris, you know, Zach, last week in Gas and Go, we ran the segment that nobody had won a race for DEI yet this season aside from Dalton Tucker, who's done it 6 times. And while Brock Morris is absolutely destroying the bodywork, making the Fab guys do some work this week, he finally puts another W in the column for DEI, and it's not associated with car number 3.
It's weird to see the 8 car doing a burnout and it not be Brady Motes.
No, it's not. He hasn't won yet. It's weird to see it on a road course, though. You just never saw that at a Dale Jr. back in the day. Well, he never saw it ever. He never got a road course win. But Brady Motes' car able to go on and win. And I guess that's 2 wins, right? Because earlier today, we got the word that today, actually, Grant Motes joined the world here. So Brady Motes became a father. Hannah delivering. I mean, just great news. Of course, we had earlier this season Josh Conover have to leave mid-race because his wife, Bree, went into labor. And, that That was in the middle of a snowstorm and everything up in New Jersey. So thankfully, it's not exactly snowing down in Alabama today. But regardless, great news for the Brady Moats camp and a win for driver number 8. And I guess our answer from Gas and Go earlier today, Zach, is answered. Brock Morris in victory lane.
That it is.
We'll take a look back at our unofficial race results here from Watkins Glen International. Obviously the win for car number 8, but everybody else finding their way to the checkered flag as well. We'll see how it broke down. Jacob Malone second, Ryan Housden third. A pretty cut and dry road course race for these guys. I think the 3 that we expected in the top 3 certainly finish in the top 3, but on back from there, how about Josh Kahn over 4th and Dalton Tucker hanging on to 5th over Kyle Tubb. Great fight between those two right down to the wire. Ryan Jones follows them to the line 7th and on the lead lap. It's Durheim, Christenberry, and Skavnicki 8th, 9th, and 10th, all 1 lap down.
Rolling outside the top 10, more cars 1 lap down. Cody Anderson, Hunter Sr., 11th and 12th. 2 more after that, 13th and 14th, you find Kevin Baumler and Jacob Gladulich. Then you start getting further laps away from the leader. 2 laps down is Nick Geilis, and 3 laps down Nick Hom in the 15th and 16th spot. Then it's 5 down for Caden Henry Oaks in the 5 P17. Anthony Korbach ends up 15 laps down with Winstone. Sorry, I know, I cursed you, I'm sorry. 22 laps down in that 19th spot with Rochelle, 35 laps down the 20th spot. Only 4 cars left after that.
Yeah, the final 4 on the results page. Just Vincent Arthur, Chance Durheim, Wayne Sparks, and Ronnie Norman. I say just these 4. Obviously good to see Wayne back in the field. Just not a good night for him. And for Vincent and Ronnie, I mean, Vincent, he is not safe technically in the chase, and this is going to be a damper on things for sure going into the final 4 races. But this is a big hit to Ronnie Norman and very likely pulls him below the cut line going into Michigan next week. So it is now all guns ablaze, I think, for the 7 these final 4 races of the regular season to make sure he makes the chase for the championship this season. Brock Morris wins at Watkins Glen. I don't think anybody is necessarily surprised, Brock, but maybe surprised at the gap back to second place. 12 seconds. Is that just how you drew it up?
It was better than I drew it up, to be honest. Yeah, super happy with the way tonight went. Couldn't have imagined a better race. So yeah, super happy about that. Pretty proud of that as well. So yeah.
And you know, I guess we can get a fair expectation moving forward because Indianapolis did not go so well, but Watkins Glen, obviously you show that, yeah, you can drive. So where is the expectation for Michigan, Richmond, California, New Hampshire, just these next 4 races? Of course, we don't know exactly what the plan is going to be, what car you'll be in, but these next few races, what is the expectation for you? Where do you feel like you'll slot in now that you've got a slightly better idea of where everybody stands and where you stand in respect to them?
Yeah, well, it's pretty tough to say since I definitely am better on the road courses than I am on the ovals, but I would like to think I could be pretty competitive at some of those races. Michigan has been a great track for me in the past, so has Richmond. So yeah, hoping to have some better finishes there. Maybe not knocking on the doors of wins there, but solid top 10 finishes I'd be really happy with.
There you have it, Brock Morris in victory lane. I think that's the first time I've ever seen a Budweiser 8 burned down on a road course. Brock, congratulations. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, I hope to talk to you soon as well.
Brock Morris, 46 laps led, likely going to win the Driver of the Day vote, and humble as ever in his interview. Second place, it goes to Jacob Malone. Zach, here he is.
Now, Jacob Malone, the guy that we expected to be getting talked to first, the one further up by just 1 spot tonight. Jacob, a lot of us had you picked to win tonight, and the expectations were high, and the challenge was certainly high. How do you feel rolling out of here in the second spot?
I feel like I got destroyed. He kicked some butt today. Brock was insanely fast. I didn't have that much race pace. Thought I was going to be faster. Wasn't. I was just super uncomfortable the whole time, struggling with handling, especially in the first run, the first 2. I'd say the first few corners we had green, and then the refire I was really bad. kind of put me on the short end of the stick and trying to come back from that, and then I never did. I kept digging a bigger hole, making mistakes, missing the corner, about wrecking myself tons of times, trying to catch him. But no, he was just on a different level today, way faster than the rest of us.
And one thing that we had brought up going into tonight was offset strategy, seeing if maybe something like that would work. Do you think short pitting comparative to Brock might have helped you a little bit overall, or do you think it cost you more time?
I had to do, that was the only shot I would have had. Getting near him was undercutting, and it did not pay out because the tire deg was so inconsistent. So you want to pit later here to have better speed, but not like too late. You don't want to go and do what Josh and a few other guys did, but they were on a completely different strategy. I would have liked to be in his position where he kind of just pit off of me, because I had too big of a gap. It was too big of a gap for me to overcome after the beginning of the first run. Run number 2 was actually decent for me, but I was still just making mistakes, not dealing with traffic well. And then the third run, I just kind of was trying to finish the race and made some mistakes while doing so. And then randomly I caught wind and was fast, and then it fell off the tank with like 3 to go. I went from matching him, doing a little bit better, and then just straight down the drain those last few laps.
Absolutely. Well, you still walk away with a podium finish. Second on the board. That's nothing to complain about, especially in a field that was mostly one lap down at the end. So congratulations on that second spot. Hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week.
Yeah, that would be nice. But it's Michigan, so I don't know about that one.
Well, there's always the positive outlook. Congratulations on the second spot. That is Jacob Malone, Andrew, your second place finisher on the night, and Ryan Housden, he's waiting and standing by.
And Ryan had a very quiet road course day once again, but just kind of having to watch as those two ahead of you disappear. Obviously, they're kind of in their own world, but it also kind of left you to run your own very quiet race. What was it like out there for you?
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Montreal, where I just was a little bit slower than those guys and a little bit faster than the ones behind me, so I just kind of ended up in my own zip code for most of the race. After Vinny had his incident out of the carousel, I'm not sure what happened there. I think if he keeps going, we were actually pretty evenly matched, I think, so that would have been pretty interesting for third, but fortunately he had his issues, so I just ended up with a quiet third place run. I guess I can't really complain about that.
And I mean, you mentioned it's we can tell in your voice it's not what you want. You know, you come here and you take away those two. You're the best points driver on road courses for sure this season. But I guess what can you take away from the fact that they absolutely did put a beating on you? Have you learned anything from going back and watching Sonoma or Montreal yet? Is there anything that you can kind of start to put in the bank of kind of picking up what these guys are putting down?
I know it's going to sound like empty words, but I think Sonoma I actually had something for him, because that's my best road course. And I just messed it up on the initial start and never really got a chance to show it. Montreal was butt kicking from Jacob. He kind of just had it pretty much. I'm just like a little bit off. I don't know exactly what it is I'm missing on some of these road courses. I've tried working with Brock a little bit to find it. And I mean, the gap is so huge that like, even if I close it a little bit, it's still going to be like a 20-second lead or whatever he had today. So it's tough. Definitely like, more to learn, but I'm trying. It's not easy. It's pretty hard.
And I know it's not quite the same as if it were to come on an oval, but here recently over the summer I've been talking more and more about how lopsided the DEI win column is. Until tonight, it's only the 6 from Tucker. Now there is 1 from somebody who just ran 2 races with you guys. I mean, is there any pressure on you or Kevin or Brady when he gets back to go and put one in victory lane?
Shoot. I mean, I think every week we're trying everything we've got, giving it everything we got to go get one. And, I mean, the league's tough. You got guys like Dalton, Brian, Vinny, Jacob, everyone. Those guys make the road course or the ovals. You got to be perfect to get it done there. And then you come to the road courses and you got Brock now, who's one of the best guys I've ever raced with on road courses, and Jacob, who's like right there with him for most of it. So you just got to be really fast for these races and then, execute throughout the whole thing, and I've gotten close a few times. I think I'm starting to knock on the door, and I really want one pretty bad. But I think just keeping my head down and keep pushing forward. I think me or Kevin or Brady, one of us can get one here before the end of the season.
Ryan, I know it's not the position you wanted, but hey, congratulations. Still kind of a win. I guess if you want to look at it as a class race, a win of the points drivers. Does that help at all?
I mean, it does, give me some kind of, it's like, it's good and bad because it hurts to know that, like, if I just, if it was points only, then I'd be out there class of the field. But it still feels good to be the best points driver, I guess. So we'll take that, move on to Michigan next week.
Sounds good, Ryan. We'll see you there.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mom. Everyone watching back home. Talk to you soon.
Ryan Housden, pretty humble there with a third place finish. And I know, as we just talked with him, Zach, obviously he wanted the win here tonight, but that's just not the way it goes sometimes. And frankly, with this crop of drivers, we just kind of know that it's going to be Malone or, I guess, now Morris on a road course. So we just know kind of we have to watch for those two. Speaking of, we can go ahead and finalize our driver of the day vote. That's really not surprisingly going to go to Brock Morris.
Yeah, it's pretty unsurprising that he's going to get driver of the day. Absolutely masterclass, dominates the race, leads all the laps. Just what a drive. What an absolute standout drive for this guy. He just put on a show. We talked about how he was going to be competitive compared to the rest of the field on a road course, and well, I think we saw it here tonight.
So Brock Morris with a big win here on a road course at Watkins Glen. Of course, next up, as we've talked about quite a bit, we're going to Michigan here with this series, and we're definitely excited for that. Legacy Michigan once again, so that's going to be a wild ride across the bumps. And it's crazy, we had Pocono twice here over the summer, but it's really Michigan that kind of bookends both ends of it, because Michigan, right afterwards, we headed to Sonoma for the first road course of the season, and now once we leave the final road course here tonight, we get ready again for Michigan. So it's like Michigan kind of ended the oval only portion of the season and begins the second only oval portion of the season. But Zach, as far as what's upcoming for all of us here at Pit Stop TV across the board, here's a look at things. There's still the intent to run Legends Wednesday. That's kind of TBD right now because frankly I don't know what's happening tomorrow at the real Charlotte Motor Speedway, but I know there's an intent to run through some of the weather, I guess before the weather I should say, as there is weather heading that way. Of course, North Carolina right in the middle of an SPC slight chance of severe weather tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how it does from the Storm Prediction Center. We're in the yellow, along with Virginia, parts of South Carolina, West Virginia. Obviously, a lot of severe weather in Wisconsin and Illinois today, so just be weather aware, pay attention to your weather apps. Every phone nowadays has one. At least use your base weather app, but I certainly recommend something like an AccuWeather, a WeatherBug. They both have lightning maps built in. Also, WeatherWise or Radar Omega. Those are kind of more subscription-based services that do a great job of giving you raw data from radar all across the country, all across the world. Those are two really, really good apps to use. They're both PC and mobile, and obviously you can get to websites for WeatherBug and AccuWeather. Weather Channel's not bad either. There's a bunch of them out there. I've got I think 7 weather apps on my phone. It's just, I'm kind of that way, but certainly for the more casual, I guess, weather watchers, AccuWeather is pretty good. WeatherBug's pretty good for lightning as well. And then Radar Omega WeatherWise, again, those are kind of good starters to get into it. But a lot of crazy weather happening. Genuinely, if you're anywhere, Kevin Mahler was saying it was like 100+ degrees for him today, heat index, and that was as there were hatched risks popping up all around him with mesocyclone discussions. There's just been a lot happening in that portion of the country, and it's all funneling down our way tomorrow, Zach. So even as you drive to the track tomorrow, I don't know, we're going to see some crazy weather maybe, but at least planning to run Legends tentatively Wednesday. Keep an eye on that. And then Thursday, Le Mans with Porsche Cup cars. That'll be exciting. And there you see Michigan on the far side of the weekend. We actually have a weekend kind of to relax a slight little bit. And then we go back racing Monday at Legacy Michigan. Gonna be fun.
Can't wait. So many great races coming up here on Pit Stop TV and so many places to follow along. You can see them right down there at the bottom of your screen. Just make sure to follow along with everything we got going on. Some great things happening here on Pit Stop TV, and I'm absolutely looking forward to it.
That will do it for us here this evening at Watkins Glen. Thanks to all of you for watching this evening. I know there were a couple of guys from some different walks of life and different areas of the sim. It's good to see you all tuning in. Trey Patton even made an appearance tonight, so good to see him out there. But that will do it for us this evening from Watkins Glen International. One more time, a big thank you to our partners with the series, Harpoon Design, Sparks Builders, and Dark Star Garage, including, of course, the league itself, the National Oval Racing Association, and our partners here at the channel, Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murder C Sports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and TZO Designs. Again, for the final time here tonight, thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time here at Pit Stop TV, hopefully Wednesday with Legends at Charlotte. We'll see you there.